And welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market Garden Shorts, where today we're going to be talking about these lovely specimens in front of you. Now, I think you know where we're going today. We're going on a magic trip. A Petroselinum trip. Yeah, these plants here, these lovely 3 specimens here, which I didn't have in the test gardens and couldn't do last year, but we're doing this, are scientifically called Petroselinum crispum, or, as we commonly like to refer to it, curled parsley. Now, the word Petroselinum comes from 2 Greek words, petros, meaning rock, and selinon, which is actually the Latin word for parsley or celery. I'll get back to why the word is interchangeable in a bit. That's covered in the AKA another section of this program. Now, this plant is native to the eastern Mediterranean area and some parts of nearby parts of Europe. It is hardy in USDA zones 3 through 9 and is considered a biennial. Now, a biennial is a plant that produces vegetative growth in the first year, full year, and then it flowers and dies in the second year. So there are a bunch of other plants that are technically biennials, like carrots, parsley is the most famous one. Certain types of evening primroses, some of them are biennials, and there are a few other well-known ones out there. It sounds kind of like a bust if you get all this and then the next year just sort of silver dollar plant. Foliage the first year, flower the second year. It's more common than you think, and it's an interesting growth strategy because the plant does all it can do to store up energy and nutrients so that it can survive the winter, and it has a better chance of producing seed and flowers in the second year, thus promoting its species. Biologically, it's very clever. Some biennials can stretch out an additional year depending on climatic conditions, just like some annuals technically can live more than a season or a year if they're under the right conditions. Plants can't read your book, so of course it's not a hard, fast rule. It's a sort of rule with exemptions. So like short-lived perennials exist and long-lived annuals, and that's just how it be. Now then, technically, I mean, when you start talking about perennials that live for 100 years, flower, and then die, that's like a hardcore centennial? The plant world's weird. Anyway, it prefers a soil pH of 6 through 7, an exposure of roughly full sun, though some partial shade doesn't hurt it. Its height can be about a foot. It is clump forming, which means it's a little circular clump. Its width is about a foot or 12 inches, optimally grown. They're usually uniformly round. Even the flat leaf type is uniformly round, and we're going to get into the flat leaf type in a moment. Now, on that whole name of selinon, which means parsley or celery. Parsley was used by ancient Greeks and Romans who did not bother to distinguish it from celery. Henceforth they have the same name, and since they're in the same family, Apiaceae, which is the carrot family, or the parsley family depending on your preference, of course they're closely related, and they have some similar flavor overtones to them. Not surprising. Now, obviously, parsley doesn't look a lot like celery, or at least curled parsley doesn't, but its cousin, seeing as how there are 3 primary types of parsley out there, and you'll see all 3 of them in a decently stocked supermarket. The flat leaf or Italian type is variety Neapolitanum. Neapolitanum. That one always gets me. But anyway, the curled variety is variety crispum. So it's technically Petroselinum crispum var variety crispum. Because name's so nice, named it twice or whatever. Now, the third type, or root parsley, or Hamburg type, is variety tuberosum. And that's the big, gnarly parsley root that you have to take a potato peeler to use. I personally have not tried this, but I really would like to. I just haven't lined up a recipe in my kitchen yet. But someday. I mean, it's like the anise heart, the fennel hearts, the green fennel hearts. It's just the fat bulb. That is a different variety of fennel, which is a cousin, than your traditional leaf fennel. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. Now, parsley is nutrition heavy, surprisingly. It's rich in vitamin A, vitamin C, several B vitamins, and potassium, iron, copper, and manganese. Now, let's get into the fun part of parsley. How the heck do you grow it? And what about pests? Well, parsley doesn't technically have pests. What it does occasionally get is swallowtail butterfly larvae. And I always recommend planting a little extra of the carrot family if you're going to grow any of them, so the swallowtail larva can have something to feast on, because promoting the butterflies is very important. They're a critical pollinator. They're also really pretty. They're one of my favorites. And I get swallowtail butterfly larvae on my fennel every year. I've gotten them on parsley in the past. I've gotten them on... They don't seem to mess with carrots so much, which is interesting, and they don't seem to mess with parsnips, the other cousin. But, an overall growing, parsley prefers a reasonably nutritious soil, so pretty dark. Put down some composted animal manure. Reasonably regular water, and it will grow well here as long as the soil is pretty nutrition heavy. It's not hard to grow. Now, here's the beautiful thing about parsley. Curled parsley, this type, you'll often see at restaurants as a garnish. And that makes you think, oh, well, I can't eat that. Wrong. You can use this in seasoning. Flat leaf parsley or Italian parsley and curled parsley in recipes taste exactly the same. However, what is it there for? Well, parsley, if eaten at the end of a meal, you chew it up and wash it down with a glass of water, can help neutralize the pungent bad breath that can be made by eating garlic and onions. So, a little more parsley makes for a fresher breath world, folks. I have been known to actually pick individual leaves off, wash them, and then eat them, chew them up. It's a strong flavor when you just chew up a leaf straight, shown off. You go, I respect you, little caterpillar, because you do this. But anyway, you chew it up, and then you just swash it down, and then within about an hour, whatever nasty oils and aromas are coming up from your stomach, because that's really where bad breath originates, are mitigated or neutralized. If you follow that up with some mint, like an Altoid, oh baby, you're gonna have to fight the girls off with a stick. But anyway, so that's parsley in a nutshell. It's very easy to grow, and consequently, it comes in 3 different forms that you can try at the supermarket. Now, for our next episode, we're going to talk about its cousin. Yeah, you knew this was coming. Its other cousin. But that's all we have for today. If you like this episode, hit the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe. It helps the channel. It tells me that these videos are going out and being useful to people. As always, folks, keep them growing, and thanks for watching.